Hello, it's Charlotte Sista C Ferrell, host of Powered by Age, Canada's longest-running senior-led podcast that invites you to do what you love.
This podcast is for you if you love writing or telling stories, if you love sharing poetry or doing interviews.
This podcast is for you if you love working on ways to create age-friendly cities.
This podcast is for you if you love learning how to tame technology and get more out of virtual events, if you love finding more ways to share your heritage or traditions.
If you love any of these things, you can go beyond listening and join our weekly podcast group. Simply email pbaafc@gmail.com and put your name in the subject line. Powered by Age is sponsored by the Government of Canada, New Horizons Grant, the 411 Senior Center Society, and G&F Financial Group. Good morning, good morning. This is Charlotte Ferrell, your own Sista C. Powered by Age is Canada's largest, longest-running senior-led podcast. And we're acknowledging that our work takes place on the unceded lands of the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh people. We also acknowledge that we are from different parts of the country, different parts of the world. So in each of those places, we're acknowledging that there are indigenous people that have first settled those lands, and at some point within our lifetime, there will be a reconciliation of the lands to those people. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our special guest today is Johnnie Proby. She is an international vocalist, a sound healer, teacher, and workshop provider. And the question we ask is, do you know what your heart song is? As each of us, what we do on Powered by Age is the people that come on early get to introduce themselves. But today, the thing I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself is your name and what is your favorite song? So we'll start with Leslie.
Hey, I'm Leslie Hebert from New Westminster. So I'm a writer and a poet and an ESL teacher. I teach online. And my favorite song, that's a tough one, but I think it has to be Bridge Over Troubled Waters.
Okay.
I remember when I had the album, I actually wore it out, listening to it. I heard it so many times. So.
Oh, I can imagine that. I love that song too. Neil, introduce yourself and tell us what is your favorite song.
Hi, my name is Neil Ryan. I'm a poet and a short story writer, and I'm published, self-published, but I am on Amazon. So the music that I hear is a jazz recording from one of several, actually, back in the probably 1960, around 1960. Would be, I'm trying to remember the name.
Happens to me too.
Yeah. Well, if I have to choose one, Dave Brubeck was a piano player that was totally off the wall. I loved his piano playing. He was like Bach, but in jazz. And he had a piece of music that he played at the Newport Jazz Festival in '54, I guess it would be. And I'm an old guy. I've been around for quite a while. So anyway, it's called, I can hear this song in my head.
If you hum a few bars, we might recognize it.
Say again.
I'd say if you hum a few bars, we might recognize it.
No. It's deep in the heart of jazz, and I've got very few people that I know that would even remember the it's called a two-part contention, which is very, very Bachish, and it's even in the title, it's a two-part contention instead of
it's
a
not
two-part.
Take Five, is it? Is it Take Five?
No, that's Paul Desmond and Brubeck, and that was probably their most famous piece of music. Take 5, written by Paul Desmond and da 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 da. Yeah, that's I recognize that one, but Brubeck took the idea from Bach of a 2-part invention and made it a 2-part contention, and but
well, don't worry, it'll come back to you.
No, it's called a 2-part contention, and but here, I love music. Absolutely love music. You can give me rock and roll, or you can give me a Bach 2-part invention. So.
Okay. Suzanne?
I had a jazz thing too. The only thing I thought about was My Girl. that was, I think, was a Smokey Robinson's My Girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that too.
Yeah. Okay.
And tell us your whole name.
Oh, it's Suzanne Isabel Simmons. And actually, my Isabel, I was named after a lady who was from Canada, who lived in Akron, Ohio.
Wow.
She was a principal in Canada. Yeah. I mean, in Akron rather, but she had moved from Canada down to Akron.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ramona?
Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Ramona Srinivasen, a retired professor from Bombay University. I have a few published academic texts to my credit, but more than writing, I love music and singing, in particular, the songs of Nat King Cole. And as we're approaching Christmas, my favorite hymn is "O Holy Night," but you asked about my favorite song, and that is "Somewhere Over the Rainbow."
Oh, nice place. It connects with Johnny's background of water. There would be a rainbow.
Yeah, and I love the version of that by that Hawaiian singer, and he's got a very long name. It's Isaiah Kawakaamole or something. He was very overweight and he died very young, but he has a beautiful version of "Somewhere Over the Rainbow."
This is the original one from the Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you, Nancy.
Hello. I just joined in. I didn't hear what the question was.
Oh, people introducing yourself and what's your favorite song?
Oh, my favorite song. Oh, Lord. I don't know what my favorite song is off the top of my head, but I've been having the song from Frozen running through my head for days on end because my daughter's been listening to it. And, and all of a sudden I'm like, what is that in the back of my mind? And that's what I hear. And my name's Nansey Sinclaire, and it's a beautiful sunny day over here. I'm in Nanaimo on Vancouver Island. And I have a great passion for photography and the beautiful outdoors, very blessed to live in British Columbia, and writing, and I love music, but like I said, I can't necessarily think of my favorite off the top of my head.
Oh, but Frozen is good.
Only after so many times. It's a bit excessive right now.
It's been very fitting because we've been having Frozen. Vancouver is interesting. It can snow in the morning and you can be outside in the stretch of rain. When I first came here and that happened to me, it scared me to death because I thought, how can snow and rain be coming out of the sky at the same time? And then I was worried that it would freeze before I got home and I would fall. So, and then Nancy's surrounded by water on an island. So she has a great opportunity to have those gusts of frozen air. I've said my favorite song is also a jazz tune. It's John Coltrane, "A Love Supreme," and something with flow and rise of that song. Sometimes in doing poetry, I try to get that kind of feel when I'm performing a poem. So all these things, all this talk about songs and favorite songs leads us to Johnny, who is not only a wonderful vocalist and may share some of her or tell us about some of her music today. She also uses music and sound as a part of healing, working with people with stress, working with people who are dealing with stress. This season coming up, there are a lot of stressful things because people in wanting to go from America to Canada, as simple as that is, or Canada over to the States, they've had all these changes in air traffic and other little things that are stressors. But today, in her presentation and talk, she's going to talk about how we can transfer that stress to somewhere else, but also to understand what your heart song is telling you. And I'll see, just before we have her start talking, another person has joined us. Aileen?
Yes.
Oh, you can introduce yourself and tell what your favorite song is. That's what we're doing before we hear about our own heart songs from Johnnie.
Oh, my favorite song. That's really, I'll tell you. I think I love the song I Believe. That's an old song, but yes, I like, that's my heart tone song. I Believe.
Okay, and Aileen is a retired librarian, a person who is loves art, loves bringing artists and writers into her home to help them launch their work. She helped me to launch my book, Heart Bomb, with gingerbread and tea party at her place. So welcome.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Okay.
And I'd like to say my jazz song was Poinciana by Ahmad Jamal. I couldn't.
Yeah. I know that.
I love Poinciana. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Put things onto my listening list for the weekend. Okay, Johnnie Proby.
Such a great idea. Thank you so much, Sister C, and thank you, everyone. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here with you today and to talk about music and how something as simple as a sigh can be healing to our body and could be music to our soul and could even be our heart song. So what I'd like to start out with is that everyone has selected their song. And the purpose for asking that is, if you are ever finding yourself, especially this time of year, with emotions that may be triggered by someone or just feeling a certain kind of way and not knowing what to do next, you could go to your heart song, your song that you just selected, that you just named, or maybe someone else, another song might come to mind. And the intention of knowing that or having that song right in hand, or even a song that maybe someone else has named and you can add that to your list, is so that when you are in those spaces and times, it could help you out of that state of worry, fear, doubt, whatever might be triggering you, to put you in a better place and create some hormones that are more mood regulating for you, which is what the intention is about having a playlist of songs that you can always go to. So for me, in this holiday season, one of my favorite songs is, someone mentioned Nat King Cole, and his favorite song for me is Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed like Eskimos. Everybody knows a turkey and mistletoe helps to make the season bright. tiny tots with their eyes hollow glow will find it hard to sleep tonight. They know Santa's on his way. He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh. Every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer know how to fly. And so I'm offering a simple phrase to each and every one of you. It's been said many times, many ways. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas to
Beautiful. Oh my goodness. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'll bring up another question here and ask, when you think about a song, maybe your favorite Christmas song, since we're talking about favorites, let's maybe think about a song and how the great memory that song might bring up for you, which is another way of being able to connect with your heart song or with your heart self.
So what do you mean by your heart self exactly?
What makes you feel good? Your heart self. This is so if I'll just go back to the song we just finished, and that song brings me back to my childhood, and it reminds me of the time when I have 8 sisters and 4 brothers, and when we were all together. Rarely was that the case because our family was so large, but at Christmas time we would all come together, open toys for the young ones, older ones in the kitchen cooking with mom, and those were great memories, and it brought back. And so when I think about that, it really puts my heart in a place of singing, because it just reminds me of a joyful time in my life. So that's what I mean by your heart. So if that might trigger, or a song might trigger a memory during this holiday season for you, that's what I was putting on the table.
Is there a particular song that triggers a memory for you, Ramona?
Yes, it does. Like I mentioned, my favorite hymn is O Holy Night. So it reminds me of practicing in the choir for Christmas and being selected to sing that solo at the midnight mass. Mm-hmm. My brother also sang and later conducted the choir. So those are very precious memories. And in fact, today I'm going to be singing Santa Baby at another meetup group called Once a Singer. So this season means a lot because of the various songs and the hymns.
The songs make me think of growing up in Kansas City. Macy's, well, there was a plaza, and the stores had music playing outside. So as you were walking from one store to the other, you might hear Jingle Bells or a whole array of songs. But Oh Holy Night also makes me think of when I was in grade school. They would always have rehearsals, and we were rehearsing Oh Holy Night, and I was trying so hard to get the alto part. And then the smell of the school, there were 2 Dunbars. There was Dunbar North and Dunbar South. And one of them still burned coal. So there was the smell of coal in the building. And so when I think of Oh Holy Night, I think of the coal, but then I also think of how happy we were when our class presented our song at the joint school choir.
Joyous memories, I love.
So how do you work with that, Johnnie, when people are down, or how do you work with people's heart song or heart energy to create a shift in a feeling or emotion?
Yeah, very good question. So what is important is, first of all, once we can identify the song that might be of interest to a person, in bringing that song, centering self, and then bringing that song into mind, it can help someone who may not remember. Let's just say an Alzheimer's patient that I'm working with may not have memory of much at all. But if we play the song, if we ask the question, do you remember, such and such? And no, they do not remember. But if you play the song and say, do you remember this song? Not only will they remember the song, but they will remember times where they were when that song was most popular or most important to them, or remember it, bring back memories for them. And that's something that we call triggering their memory. So it can really be beneficial and helpful to them to not only bring back memories, but it puts them in a mood of remembering what it felt like to be there. And all of that brings back truly wonderful feelings of emotions, and can really serve them in a wonderful way, what they call the happy or the pleasure hormones or endorphins that are really good for the body and for the mind and the spirit. Music really is good nourishment for the whole body and body system. That is one way that we really use music, that music can be used to help in memory, help with memory care.
And you've said even if you sing out of tune, people make me feel bad sometimes, like my sister, when I sing and she says, you can't sing. But how the point that you made, that even if you sing out of tune, that singing can bring you back in tune, like even things like your breathing or how you move about the house or move about the place in a day.
Absolutely. So if you think about a sigh, you feel that in your body. So if we can all do a sigh together, you can think about, where do you really feel that in your body when you really release the sigh? Where do you feel that in your body?
I felt it in my chest.
Yes.
Me
in your
too.
heart space.
Behind my shoulders.
One more time.
Behind my shoulders, back here.
Yes, relief. Just so you don't need a singing voice to say it, to pronounce or just say a sigh. That's just like releasing. The sound that's another way of releasing. That's a sound that we can make without needing a singing voice. Even just, this is something that I've recently started doing, and I find that it really helps me when my mind gets to the place where I'm over and over again repeating something that I know is a negative thought. I go to Om, because I know that it's a universal place, that it opens up my whole mind and takes me away from the thought of I can't. If I'm in that space of Om, there is nothing else that could come in that space for me. So I'm just finding sounds that really takes me into a more positive state of mind and emotion. And that can be considered mood regulating. That's really beneficial. So the more that we can stay in this place where we are more calm and at peace with self, and less worry and less doubt, less concern, we are really serving ourselves to be more in health. That is the intention.
Does anyone else have an experience around that, having a sound that you release to give yourself comfort, or a sound that you use to relieve stress?
Deep breathing.
May I, Charlotte?
Yes.
So I find that chanting a mantra, that's also a kind of sound. So that helps very much, like Johnny spoke about Om. So we have various mantras which could, change our mood, keep us more focused. So I don't want to share the mantra unless you want me to, but that I find that very useful, extremely useful.
Colleen? Yes, could you do my...
Does anyone want to hear a bit of the chant that Ramona does?
Yes.
Yes.
I would. Okay, so this is actually the title of the Lotus Sutra, and it's in Japanese. So the title of the Lotus Sutra, which was written by Shakyamuni Buddha, is Myoho Renge Kyo. And to that, a Buddhist scholar of the 13th century added the word Nam, which means devotion, So Nam, Myoho is the mystic law, Renge is the lotus flower, and Kyo is the sound or sutra. So that whole mantra is Nam, Myoho, Renge, Kyo. So repeating this constantly puts us in puts our lives in accordance with the basic law of the universe, which is that of cause and effect. So actually, there's a lot of philosophy behind this. But even if you don't know what it means, and you're just chanting, it does bring all those immense benefits that music does, like Johnny just shared with us. So it just goes, you just chant it in a very monotonous way. This has nothing to do with any religious belief. So it just goes like this. Namyoho Renge Kyo, Namyoho Renge Kyo, Namyoho Renge Kyo, Namyoho Renge Kyo. I hope that gives you some idea. It's quite interesting.
Thank you for the explanation, because I've heard some people say when they hear people chanting, they don't know what it means, or they think that they have myths and misunderstandings. So thank you for explaining what that is, and that it doesn't have to mean anything too deep, that it's just relieving and it is positive.
Yeah, that was beautiful. It takes me to a singer that we all may remember, be familiar with, Tina Turner, who definitely used that particular chant or mantra.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and she does. How it's basically saved her so many times when she was going through her life struggles, and how that mantra was just beneficial to her in her daily life. So thank you, Ramona. Very beautiful.
Yeah, I've been chanting this for the past 17 years, and I've also experienced wonderful things in my life thanks to the chant.
Very good. Very good.
What about breathing patterns? Is there a way, sometimes when people get afraid of things, they hold their breath. Other times people, kind of pant. But is there a particular thing that's better for relieving your heart when you are scared or when you're very happy? What's the connection between breathing and your heart?
Well, for me, I think well, there are different types of breathing patterns. They have numbers: 4 breath in, hold 4, release at 4. So I just say whatever works for you, because what might work for me may not work for someone else. So I always just say follow your heart is where I would go with that. But what I would like to add to that is, when you are in that space and trying to figure out, if you take a breath in and go to your heart space and think of the word, maybe gratitude, think of appreciation, think of love as you taking in that breath. That is, if you hold that space with that intention of feeling of gratitude, what does it feel like when you're really grateful for something? What does it feel like when you're holding your pet and they're loving you unconditionally and you're loving them back? Whatever that feels like when you're taking in that breath, if you hold that space, that will be able to help you maintain a sense of peace, a sense of calm, and a sense of coherence, which is meaning your mind and your heart are connected, and they are on one accord, or in sync with one another. And I think that's something just to really keep in mind. So if you think about taking in a deep breath, and then go to your heart space and think of appreciation, think of love, joy, gratitude, as you're centering in that space. What it feels like to know that you're loved. And to release that.
Give you a very warm feeling.
Yes. And you can do that anywhere. You can be not closing your eyes, but I mean, just thinking about going to that heart space. You could be in the grocery store, standing in line and getting impatient because the person in front of you is, whatever, however long the line is. And instead of getting frustrated about having to be there, think about the fact that you have funds to pay for what you're buying, and maybe the person in front of you may not. So instead of getting upset with that, being in that space, just go to gratitude. I'm grateful that I could stand here in this moment. I'm grateful that I'm not in a wheelchair. Somebody has to, take me to the grocery store. I'm grateful that I'm able to just be here in this moment. In that space of gratitude can really help you stay in that space of calm. Something I'd like to bring up here that I think is really important. Our bodies has its own rhythm, and so in the beta state is where we are when we are normally awake, our normal engagement and activity. But the alpha state is where we are calm and relaxed. But if we stay in the beta state all the time, I just say, so 8 hours a day, if we are awake 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, and we're in that space, then we really stay in a stressful state. But if we could find some time throughout the day to go into a meditation, a quiet, or listening to our favorite song, going into that alpha state, we could find calm and relaxation. It's really helpful for us it helps us to stay healthy. A meditation, or just taking a relaxing break to just reflect on, life as it is, accepting life for the way it is instead of the way we want it to be. Or when we get into theta, we're in that deep relaxation, daydreaming. And then, of course, delta, when we're in our deep sleep. But I'm bringing this up is because I think it's important to recognize that finding ways throughout the day to come out of beta, out of that stressful state, just out of constantly in our heads, to find the time to go to that alpha state where we can relax. When we do that, the more we do that, the more we can find less stress in our lives. The more we can become healthier, create healthier habits, basically. So it's encouraging to be able to take the time to, even if it's just however long your favorite song is, decide I'm gonna pick a time of day that I'm gonna listen to my favorite song at least once a day. And how happy that will make you feel, then you'll find another song maybe to add to that list. And maybe by the end of the week or the end of the month, you might have 4 songs that you just decide, okay, I'm going to listen to these songs. And notice how it makes you feel. And the more you do that, the more you are nourishing your nervous system. And when you nourishing your nervous system helps you to be calm when situations come up that you can't control. You're practicing and giving your body a chance to learn how to handle that fight or flight state. And when you really need to fight or flight, you'll be prepared because you're building that muscle by practicing.
Nansey, I'm not sure whether you are there right now or not, but I know you go walking in the morning with your dog. Well, we have 3 people that walk early in the morning. Suzanne walks early in the morning, and Neil walks at different times, morning, day, down caves. But what are some things, do you notice or think about your breathing when you have a scary situation like a bear occurring along your path?
You know, it's funny that you just asked me to speak right now because I'm such a glorious day outside right now. And I just, I'm fortunate I live 5 minutes from the beach here in Nanaimo. So I just walked down to the beach to mail some Christmas cards. And now I'm walking uphill to the mountain because I'll get to look over at the ocean and see the mountains and everything. So I was just listening to what Johnnie was saying, and it is so true about music and what it does, because, you know, I listen to a lot of meditation music every day, and I get up early and I love walking and being outside. And I'm really, really aware, like it's not very often I listen to the radio, say when I'm driving, but if I turn it on, it'll agitate me more than anything. So I'll switch over to listening to like some spiritual teachings or whatever. And I just have been thinking as I've been listening to everybody, like there's a Ray Charles song, which I just absolutely love. I can't think of the title right now, but I can feel it run through my body. I can feel the energy, and I know that I have the opportunity to connect in my heart at any time I choose to. So if I'm out in the mall or something, or standing in that grocery line that she was speaking to, then I can put my thoughts into something, and then I can choose to hear what I want to hear in my head to be in that heart space and just to be calm and relaxed. So to be outside right now and to be hiking up the mountain, to look out to the ocean, to see your side of Vancouver, and knowing that I can pull in different sounds into my head, like this Ray Charles song, I can't think of the title of it, but I can hear it playing in my head. And one of the reasons it meant so much to me is when I was married, I would be downstairs, say in the house doing whatever, and my husband would be upstairs doing whatever. And we would be playing his music. And this one particular song would come on, and he'd come flying down the stairs. And then we'd waltz in the kitchen together and not say anything, just waltz and then kiss each other and give each other a hug. And then he'd go back to what he was doing, and I'd go back to what I was doing. And it is such a beautiful memory. Music is so powerful. And like she was saying, like it's just a way to calm your heart and your mind and get into a space of gratitude. And so I think that when I'm on the trails and I come across the bears when I'm walking dogs, I think because I spend so much time in meditation and doing things to be centered from my heart through gratitude and that, I think it all feeds to that ability to be calm when a stressful situation does come up, because it's my practice to stay connected in my heart. So
Nansey does something that scares me to death. But maybe when you talk about your heart has a rhythm, because you're doing that the bear, she'll be walking the dogs, and she sees a bear and she takes a knee and the dogs come to her and they stay quiet. So there's something in her heart that must resonate with the dog's heart. And then the bear comes along and it's like, Mama Bear says, oh, hi, and keeps on walking. So maybe it's the rhythm of your heart that connects with them.
That's so
yeah.
So
I think it's just, I just really truly believe it's just a blessing and a gift because, and I just have this connection to the bears and like, you know, I've had experiences where I've been driving down the highway, you know, either as a driver or passenger on highway speed, and I've just known when to look up or when to look over, and there's an eagle or there's a bear or something. I had an experience one time when I was driving with my husband and I was a passenger. He was driving. We're on this busy highway. And I had my head down because I'd been reading out loud to him. And all of a sudden I said, oh, stop, there's a bear. And he's like, what are you talking about? I said, I know there's a bear back there. So we pulled off to one side and wasn't anybody around, and we backed up, and sure enough, I was just like, you know, if you just look over there, 12 o'clock, a few, 100 meters back, and sure enough, there was a bear. So it's just a gift that the universe has bestowed upon me, and I'm so grateful for it because I just get called to look up and look over, and then I get to commune and connect with the wildlife. It's quite fascinating, actually.
That is fascinating. I was like we've only seen possums where I walk, no bears. I would not want to see a bear.
That is fascinating, though. Yeah, Nansey, I would say I bless you that you are in tune with self. That is a blessing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You're on an island?
I live on Vancouver Island in British Columbia. So Charlotte lives in Vancouver in the Lower Mainland, and then I live across the pond, as they say, in a city called Nanaimo. So I'm in the center of Vancouver Island. So we have the choice to go north or south, and yeah, it's beautiful. And today, like I say, in this particular moment, the sun's out, and like Charlotte said, it snowed a couple of days ago, but now we're almost at summer.
I've been on where she lives in Vancouver. That was years ago.
Vancouver is beautiful.
It is beautiful. Yeah.
I have incorporated a song in one of my recent poems. It's about 3 minutes long. You know my Yellow Umbrella song, Charlotte?
I can't remember the tune. I can remember having heard it, but no.
Yes.
Who said yes? Somebody said yes.
I'd love to share it with Johnnie because it's very much in tune with what she's teaching today. And it's called the Yellow Umbrella. May I?
Certainly.
The Yellow Umbrella. The gloom of the morning clouds set the mood of the day. I sat at the bus stop, huddled against the cold morning wind, bemoaning the fact the gray gloom permeated all. It had rained all night, settled into a drizzly morning mist, occasionally expanding into a miniature cloudburst that chilled the bones and mimicked the heaviness that gripped my heart. The useless effort with diet and exercise to regain my health, the frustration and seemingly impossible task to achieve my financial goals, the gloom of the day was a perfect match for my resident misery in my mind. Down the street, a ray of yellow sunshine emerged from the swirling morning mist. A bright yellow umbrella carried by a child of indeterminate age, dressed in a bright yellow raincoat with matching cap and boots. A miniature version of a warm, loving sun, intent on stomping up the biggest puddle splash. And as she splashed, she sang, "Sing a song of sunshine, be happy every day. Sing a song of sunshine, you'll chase the clouds away." Be happy every moment, no matter what you do. Just sing a song of sunshine and let the sun shine through. Splash, 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 she splashed her way down the street. And as the yellow umbrella disappeared into the misty morning rain, I swear to you, I saw a beam of sunshine splash, splash, splashing down the street beside her. End of poem.
Wow, that's beautiful. I can imagine how your heart space opened singing the song. Well, it inspired you to put a song in the middle of a poem.
That's for Johnnie. That's for Johnnie today.
Very
Thank
nice.
You.
I love it. And I could see it. It's so, as you were reading, I could really see those yellow rain boots, the yellow umbrella, just the beautiful sunshine coming through. So just beautiful for the mind and body and soul. Thank you, Neil.
Well, when you were sharing about your heart, about lightening the heart, I thought about that poem and was grateful to be able to share it with you.
My pleasure. Thank you. Wow. That brings joy. I feel joy in my heart.
Hey, anytime I share one of my poems, I feel joy. It is a gift. I am the scribe that writes it down, but it comes from spirit. It has to. It must.
Well, I believe it. I felt it. Absolutely. And I think that's what this whole conversation is about, being able to find ways to bring joy, or to bring joy into our day, into our lives. And that's a perfect example of what it feels like to share your gift. You know, as we're talking about earlier, you know, being around other people who may be having a rough day, just we showing up with a smile,
yeah,
you know, could just really brighten someone else's day. And just knowing that we are that light that Neil just talked about, you know, in his writing, that we are that light, and we could shine, we could be the light to shine, whether we sing it or speak it. We are that light to and for one another.
I thought it was interesting what you said about the different waves from alpha, beta, theta, and to get out of beta, because I think a lot of times with the pace of things going, you know, if you watch the news a lot for a long time, you have that kind of rushed feeling. So I think doing a chant like Dr. Ramona, or just going to music, I find a lot of times during the day, I will switch from that and put on some music. And making your own playlist. You have one workshop that you do about making your night sweeter with music. What are some things that you can say about music in the evening, how important music is in the evening before going to sleep?
Yeah, so one good habit is when you are preparing yourself for sleep, 2 hours before bed, Deepak Chopra or others recommend 2 hours before bed, if you can maybe turn the TV off and start playing music, it'll start preparing your body for a peaceful night's rest. But what you're doing is sort of setting, regulating your whole mind, your energy around you when you're turning off. I'm sorry, the young lady that just finished speaking. Nansey mentioned earlier about just sometimes the TV can take you in a place where you feel antsy. But when you switch that and put on music, it takes you to a place of more coming to calm and relax. So what I normally do is I'd say an hour or two before bed, I put on whatever song I feel that really starts bringing me into that space of relaxation. And even before I get to the bed, before I get to meditation and then sleep, once my body starts into that place, I could be preparing dinner with that music on. And it takes me to start winding down And the more you prepare your body to start regulating into that wind down state, by the time you get to sleep, you are ready for a really peaceful night's sleep, opposed to just turning the TV off and going to sleep. Because when you're doing that regulation, it allows yourself to just come to that calm state. And because everything vibrates, we are made of 80% water. So you're giving your body a chance to really come to that state of calm. And the thoughts of whatever the TV is left behind, when you are releasing it a few hours before bedtime, you're not carrying that energy with you to bed. You're not carrying the whatever the thoughts were. You're coming into that space, allowing yourself to come to that space of calm and peace. And I'm sure it could probably help your dream state as well. But just the fact that you're allowing your energy around you, because as I said, everything vibrates. Everything is energy, whether we know it or like it or not. Everything is energy, and it could be good energy or bad energy, but all energy affects us in one way or the other. And we want to be around energy that's beneficial to our bodies, because that's the purpose of being whole and being healthy, is to be able to find ways to create those spaces for ourselves to stay in wholeness and to stay in calm and peace. And the more we do that, the more we flourish, the younger we become, because believe it or not, the vibrations of music can really help us with youth, help us to stay younger, because stress does the opposite.
There's a song that I started playing sometime at night, and I noticed it made me feel well because it's stating something, and that is "What a Wonderful World" by Louis Armstrong. When he sings it, I just feel like, oh, it really is a wonderful world, and embrace that going to sleep, because his voice is calming, but just repeating. When you have a song that continually repeats something positive, I think it generates that same vibration in you. So you reflect back, what a wonderful world, rather than, oh my God, what's going to happen next? The world's so bad.
And the opposite is true too. When you think about, not say the opposite, but when you think about waking up in the morning, instead of it being the first thing, alarm clock that sort of jolts you out of bed, it could be a nice bird song, that sort of just gradually wakes you up and sort of preparing you for the day ahead, because the jolt just sort of like springs you into anxiety, into that feeling of, oh my God, now what? And it's like, it's just sort of like it's a ripple effect. Then the next thing, and everything just feels like that anxiousness. But when you can wake up into that calm, bird song or whatever the feelings might be, then you can gradually, then you're setting the tone for the day, more than the negative stuff that's anticipated because of that anxious feeling.
Yeah, and almost all of us have one of these. We have a phone and an alarm set to it. And I used to have something, that would have a lot of, but I changed to these birds, and the birds are chirping. And so it makes me feel like I'm, it doesn't wake me up right away, but before it goes into a tune, I have a Bach song, and I don't listen to Bach, but when it goes from the birds to that, I do wake up feeling, it's a good day, rather than the angst of, I need to shut that noise off. But thank you for sharing, those things, the transitions of how music throughout the day, and ways that you can use your favorite song to embolden you, make you anchored, and feel gratitude, or just feel good in the situations and things you go through in life or during the course of a day.
Yeah.
You
go ahead.
No, I apologize.
Go ahead, Nansey.
Oh, I was just going to say that YouTube has some wonderful meditation music, 8, 10, 11, 12 hours. And what I do is I put it on in my front room. My computer is on the speakers, and then I take my phone and I do my meditation at my bed. But I play the meditation music on YouTube throughout the night while I'm sleeping. And then when I wake up in the morning, because I go to the gym at 5 o'clock, I keep it playing until I come back, because I feel like it's just contributing energy to my home and the space when I come in and out of it. So it's just constantly there. And I haven't done a gentle alarm on the phone, but that's a great suggestion. I think it's time to. I have Mockingbird. It's a bird, but it's a get up and move song. So, but I do like I think it's such a privilege that, you know, somebody took the time to create a meditation video that's like, you know, 8-10 hours long. That's amazing.
Yes, Johnnie has a couple of things that you can listen to. Can you share how to connect with your heart song and heart math?
Yeah, so what I put in the chat, and I could send this to you or to later on as an email as well, but Heart Math has a really beautiful demonstration of the, I think there are 3 what they call coherent meditations where you go into that space of gratitude. You can follow that along. They're free meditations. They're really beautiful. They're short, but they're very impactful. So it's called experience.heartmath.com/free. It's in the chat. And then the other thing that I would just put on one of my favorites is Jonathan Goldman, Jonathan Goldman, Goldman, has a beautiful CD titled Ultimate Om. Ultimate Om, O-M. And I listen, this one, I'm like Nansey, I just put this one on repeat and let it play while I sleep all night. And thank you, Nansey, for that recommendation of YouTube. That's exactly what I was about to say, that you can go to YouTube and type in, you know, songs for relaxation, songs for background music, just whatever your thought might be about trying to find relaxing music, song for abundance, songs for meditation. You'll find a plethora of music there on YouTube that you can just play. Oh, and I love the fact that they are at length, so you could, as short as you want them to be, or as long as you want them to be, you'll find them there.
Well, speaking of stories and speaking of YouTube, you know, Powered by Age prompts everyone who's a creative writer, singer, storyteller to record your story with us. If you go to poweredbyage.com, you see a thing called spins, stories, poems, inspirations, and novelties. And within our group, Neil has some of his stories there and poetry. I have some poems, and other people are welcome to record theirs. So you can contact me at Powered by Age. If you just go to poweredbyage.com, there's a response place on there where you can say you'd like to get in touch with us, and you can get involved with our regular podcast. We welcome storytellers. The stories that other people have told are great, as well as the meditations that other people have told. But each of you have a story. Each of you have got a meditation, or you have something that can inspire other people. So right now, as we're going into this holiday season, I'm going to say, make your gift. Write something that you want to share. Write something where you might have seen someone in a yellow jacket with a yellow umbrella that inspired you to write a poem, but instead of just thinking about it, you did it. So that as we go into the new year, we will have included in our spins or easy listening section stories by Ramona, Leslie, Suzanne, Nansey, more by Neil, and more by me. I have Heart Balm just for you, and I share that at different places and times. So I just thank all of you for this delicious conversation we've had today, and know that everybody's heart is being excited at hearing that you've been encouraged to feel love in your heart, to feel gratitude, to feel thankfulness at the times when people can get on your last nerve, that you've got a stronger nerve around your heart that you can employ. So I am Charlotte Ferrell, your own Sista C. I look forward to you being with us again next Thursday at 1. And tell a friend if you've heard something that you've liked and you want to let somebody else know that this is a way that they can share with other people who are doing positive things, that they can share their knowledge. You too could be the presenter for the day. So thank you so much, Johnnie, for traveling and being with us. And we look forward to seeing and hearing more from your website. And again, would you tell people how they can get in touch with you online?
Yes, definitely. Johnnie, JOHNNIE, Proby, P as in Paul, ROBY.com.
Johnnie, thank you so much. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
I'm so grateful. I appreciate the opportunity.
For the program.
Thank
I love
you.
your hat. I love hats. Did you make that yourself?
I've been crocheting hats since during COVID. I've done 9 hats. That's one of the ways I found.
Oh my God.
Today's is really beautiful, Charlotte. It looks so elegant.
Beautiful. Very nice.
And Johnnie, you have a wonderful voice. So lovely. Thank you for your presentation. I had a quick question. Does music help improve students' educational abilities, intelligence?
To help them focus?
Okay.
Yes, it
Memory
can definitely
also,
help them focus, for sure. With study, I used it when I was working on my master's. That was the only thing that got me through it, I think, was the music.
Okay.
So my contact information is there. Feel free to reach out to me and we can talk more about it offline.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I'd like to say hello to Suzanne. She was very quiet, said very little today, but I want to acknowledge, because it looks like perhaps you and I are similar vintage. So my pleasure to have you join the program today. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you for the comment. Yeah, I really didn't say much because you don't know what I'm a retired teacher, and I've written poetry and stuff, and I write grants for people, and I write letters for people when they have problems with their products or something. I only write to the president or CEO of the company and a couple of board members because I've served on boards for 30 years rather. Yeah.
Neil, share how old you'll be, how many years young you'll be in February.
I'm going to be 82 years young.
Wow.
Okay. And I just turned 80 last month.
Well, I figured from the gray that you and I might be of similar vintage. I'm still only 81, but I'm closer to 82 than I am to 81. So, but hey, alive and young and healthy. Thank you, yes. God.
That's key.
Yeah.
Or whatever her name is.
Aileen.
Oh, more stories for another time. So I look forward to seeing all of you all, and your wonderful, sweet, happy spirits will help all of us to go through the week, go through our lives, and just say, let your light so shine that others can see the God, the goodness that's within you, and say, what is this that makes you so happy?
I would like to add one small, simple thing. There's a website called FromTheOtherSide.ca. It doesn't sell you the book, but it gives you 6 free poems and 1 short story. Please, I invite anybody to come and enjoy my poetry.
Okay, Neil.
FromTheOtherSide.ca. It's available on Amazon, but there's no link to buy it on my website. There's just some free poetry and 1 short story.
Okay.
Please enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And again, encouraging each of you who have a story. People say they've got a book in them. Well, what you've got is a lot of stories. So you don't have to worry about doing the whole book. Just write 1 story at a time. And you can see from today, just people sharing stories, how delightful that is. So I'm looking forward to hearing more of Neil's stories and stories from each of you as we go down the way. So thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
I've got to
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Johnnie.